right, hey guys, welcome to your 5 Essentials Lifestyle class. This class is designed to give you just an overarching view of everything that we teach here in our office. We used to just bombard people with all the information all at once, and it's super confusing, and most people don't know where to start. So as you're sitting through here today, I want you to pick one of the 5 essentials to really focus on for the next 30 days. I recommend watching this talk over and over and over again until you get solid on each of the 5 essentials. But just pick one of them today and work on them for the next 30 days. A couple weeks ago, I was out shooting some pictures, and I captured this eagle flying in and taking off from its nest. And I just noticed, as it was seeing the whole horizon, it knew what was going on, it could see everything that was around it. And so that's really what I want you to have. I want you to be able to look at these 5 essentials. First of all, know what they are, but then know how to implement them each into your life, specifically at a certain time. So what are the 5 essentials? I want you to start writing these down. So if you are at home, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, start writing these 5 essentials down. Learn them over time, because really, if you have any type of health issues going on, typically for me, like if I get a cold, or if I get a stomach issue, or if I get something going on in my body, I say, okay, where am I lacking in one of these 5 essentials, and what do I need to do to make this better? So essential number 1 is core chiropractic, which you have learned over the course of time in our office. You're going to hear that spit at you over and over and over again. It's all about making sure your spine is in the correct alignment, that your body's healing and functioning the way that it was designed to. We've also got nutrition, so we're going to dive into just an overview of what you need to know about nutrition and how to start implementing these things. I have an entire nutrition talk that goes through an hour's worth of content for you to learn exactly what to implement into your life. We've got mindset, which I think may be the most important essential of the 5 essentials, because if we can't shift your mindset from thinking one way, being more of a victim, and shifting you into being more of a victor and taking control of your day and your health and your life, then it's going to be very difficult to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. The next thing we have is oxygen and exercise. We have a state-of-the-art program that allows you to work out 3 to 4 times a week for about 12 to 15 minutes, and you still get amazing results with your body. And then the last one is minimizing toxins. And so when we talk about minimizing toxins, we want to talk about the environment, we want to talk about our food, we want to talk about medications, all kinds of stuff. I've actually got an entire talk set up just to go through that as well. Now, I'm not going to go through these 5 essentials in that order. It's going to be a little bit out of order. So if you're one of those people that likes to have things linear, I'm sorry, I'm apologizing ahead of time. What we're going to start with first is mindset. Henry Ford said a quote, and it said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." And so we really got to start shifting our mindset to being positive outlookers and seeing the goodness in everything that we do. One thing I want to go through first is I want to go through the difference between the chiropractic model and the medical model, because these are 2 very stark different opinions, views on how the body works and on life. And for me, this is something that I grew up with, but it's become more prevalent this year that we're filming this, because there's just so much stuff going on when it comes to health. And so when we look at the medical system, what is that looking at? It's all about fear tactics. It's about emphasis on pathology, it's emphasis on treatment, and it's got fear of the symptoms and your sicknesses. So if you have a symptom, go be scared and don't honor the symptom, and go get something to cover that symptom up, and then that's going to make it go away. Well, when we look at that through the chiropractic lens, we see the body as being whole. We see there being wisdom inside of the body. We have an emphasis on adaptation. We have an emphasis on homeostasis, which is really just balance of the body. We really focus on healing and regeneration within the body. So we're not afraid. We're not walking around scared of things coming at us. We're not walking around scared of our symptoms. We're actually learning to honor our symptoms and understand that that's the body's way of telling us that something is going seriously wrong, and we really need to figure that out. Another thing with the medical system is it's really about regulating and controlling tactics, which really is not what we do with the chiropractic lens. We use encouragement and support when it comes all about that. The medical system is treatment for a single, linear, isolated condition, where chiropractic is looking at your body as a whole. And so we really want to understand that your body was made to heal and to live and to thrive on its own. And it's not singular compartments that we have to just look at. We have to look at it as a whole. Another thing that the medical system does is it treats symptoms. You know that if you have a headache or if you have a digestive issue or if you have a hurt toe, they're going to address that. They're going to cover up these symptoms. But really what we want to look at is we want to get to the cause. And that's really what chiropractors do, is really finding out why is that symptom happening and what do we need to do to course correct our bodies. The medical system looks to fix the process, and the chiropractic system looks to support the process. The medical system looks from the outside in, below upward, where chiropractic looks at above down, inside out, which I'm going to explain that in detail towards the end of that. So hold that out. Write the letters A-D-I-O. Stands for above, down, inside, out. And so I really want you to have an understanding of what that means as we move through this. We'll talk about that at the end. Now, when it comes to mindset, I really truly believe that your mindset starts the second that you wake up in the morning. Really, even if you reverse engineer it, it's as you're going to bed at night, what your mindset looks like and how your body and day is going to look. So for me, when I'm working on my mindset, I have a morning routine, which I'll go through in a little bit. I also do war planning. I know what my big why is, so I know why I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning and what my purpose is and what I stand for. I have exchanged my limiting beliefs for empowering beliefs, and I know what my goals are and what I need to do to get to those goals. And so when I talk about war planning, we know that every single day is a battle, and we want to be prepared for that battle. We just have to have an understanding of what that looks like. And so I actually had a friend who changed the name from war planning to peace planning, because they know that when they start preparing their weeks and their days and their months, they have a lot more peace involved in their life than if they're just going willy-nilly all over the place. And so what does this look like? This looks like for me is I sit down on Sunday afternoons and I get my calendar out and I plan out what I'm doing Monday through Saturday, and I know exactly what I'm doing on those days, when I'm supposed to be at work, when I'm supposed to be doing extracurricular activities. I plan out when I'm going to meal plan. Actually, I meal plan on Sundays, and I plan out when I'm going to be cooking and what I'm going to be eating throughout the week. I plan out when I'm going to work out. I actually set an appointment in there because I know that if I don't, I'm going to just skip it, because fun fact about me is I really don't like to work out. I do it because I know my body it's necessary for my healing, but I don't love it. So if I don't schedule it in, if I don't make it an appointment, then I'm going to just be like, well, whatever, I'll just skip that today. I schedule in when I'm going to be getting adjusted. I schedule in when I'm going to be doing my home care exercises. I schedule in when I'm going to be doing my morning routine, because that fluctuates throughout the week of how long I have my morning routine for and what I do with that. For me, I use my calendar on my phone, just straight up I use an iPhone, so I have the iPhone calendar. I just use that. But then I also use this other app. It's called Google Tasks. That's been really, really good for me, because I can go in there and set tasks for the week. I can set tasks for specific days, just things that I absolutely know that I must get done. And so that's something that I would recommend to you. It's very similar to the Reminders app on an iPhone, but for some reason the Reminders app just doesn't work well for me. This Google Tasks thing works really, really well. It syncs with your calendar and everything goes really good. So you might be sitting there, what is a morning routine? And so I'm going to start with the simplest version of what a morning routine looks like, because if I told you what my morning routine was, you probably would get overwhelmed and think I was crazy. And so we're not going to start there. We're going to go back to when I first started. I actually started developing my morning routine as I was in chiropractic school and learning from my mentors and my teachers of what that meant. And so that, for me, it means getting up early in the morning. And so that's why I get up 5:30. Sometimes even when I'm doing my specific trainings, I'll be getting up at 4:30 in the morning to make sure that I am set. I don't skip the morning routine so that I can fit in my exercise and my routines outside of that. So what does that look like? I call this the spiritual triathlon. So we have 3 different categories. We're going to do let's just start with 5 minutes each one. That way it's not super overwhelming. So it's just an extra 15 minutes. And I truly believe that everybody can set their alarm for 15, 20 minutes early and be able to get this in on their day. So 5 minutes of reading. For me, I'm reading the Bible in the morning. I have devotionals that I read through. I have specific chapters that I'm reading through as well, so that I can stay on track with that. I do journaling too. I do 5 minutes of journaling. A lot of times that shifts also into reflecting on what I just read, but then it also kind of does a double standard with I also write out my prayers, because sometimes I get just sidetracked when I'm just praying and thinking about stuff, and so this helps me to stay focused. And then I have 5 minutes of meditation or sitting in silence and reflecting on what I just prayed about or what I just read or whatever it is, to kind of let it marinate and soak all in. And so that's my morning routine part of it. Then I'm making sure I'm taking my supplements. If you are taking your daily detox, it's a good time to take the daily detox right before you start your morning routine. Then you'll have a good 15, 20, 30 minutes before you go in and actually have a morning shake or anything like that. I have a morning shake in the morning if I'm not doing intermittent fasting, but this is something that I'll add in there. I make sure I take my essential packets and then any personal any personally prescribed supplements that you should be taking as well. I actually have my spinal rehab area set up in my basement. Yes, I know I have a whole entire office set up for spinal rehab, but as soon as I get to office, I go into work mode, and so I'm not there to fix and correct my spine. I'm mostly there to work. So I make sure that in my house, I have my wobble chair, my traction, my head weights. I even have a vibration plate at my house so that I can do everything that I need to do at home before I get going for the day. And then depending on the day, for me, sometimes I'll add in my 15-minute max T3 workout, either before work in the morning. It just depends on if I'm doing my triathlon training or not. Sometimes I'll do that in the afternoon or the evening. Another like quick tip I love to do is I have like these little half note cards, and I'll write out an affirmation, or I'll write out a specific scripture verse that I stick to on a daily basis. I'll just keep it right in my pocket and make sure that I can refer back to that throughout the day. You'll even see in my adjustment bays, you'll see scripture kind of written all over, posted all over the wall. There's a specific reason for that, and the reason is that I want to make sure that I can focus on that stuff as the days go on throughout my week. One thing that and this is even like a biblical statement, it's talking about renewing your mind. We're called to renew our minds every single day, not just once. It's not just a magical renewal. It's something that we have to do every single day, and sometimes multiple times throughout the day. What I do is I want to make sure that I know what my big why is. And so why do I get up in the morning? Why do I come to work in the afternoon and the days? Why am I filming this for you right now? The reason is because I know that there is a massive, massive issue when it comes to health. And I know that there's people that need to be out there speaking the truth and sharing their wisdom and their knowledge. For me, my big why, one of my biggest whys is my mom. I know that she needs help being guided through the process, and I know that she needs somebody to stand up for her health. And so I get up to be an example. I eat the way I eat to be an example, and I do the things that I do to be an example. Another one of my big whys is you guys. If you're watching this, if you're one of my patients, you're the reason why I get up and treat my body the way I treat it, is because I want to be able to provide you the best care that I know that I can. And the way that I do that is to make sure that my health is in tip-top shape. So for you, write this out. This isn't something like you want to lose 10 pounds to look better in a bikini type of a thing. That's just very superficial and not going to get you very far. We also want to change our limited beliefs to empowering beliefs. And so what that looks like is maybe you're thinking like, I'm not a morning person. If you keep telling yourself you're not a morning person, you're never going to be a morning person. And so this is one of those things where we want to start shifting that is, I love waking up in the morning. I love the time of day, I love the time that the morning presents itself. I love working out. I love doing my home care exercises. I love feeling good. I love eating good. So shifting that negative attitude towards health and towards things into a positive belief. And then if you're a patient of ours, in the beginning of care, we sat down with you and went through your SMART goals. And we want to make sure that you know your SMART goals for each of the 5 essentials and really where you're focusing on those. So make sure you get that sheet out and you understand where you're at with those, and don't just let it just become another exercise that you did at somebody's office. Really start pouring into that and understanding where that's all at. Next big thing is my favorite topic that we talk about in the office, and it's nutrition. I've got an entire 1 hour long nutrition class for you guys to watch. And so I recommend watching that one over and over and over again as well. When I used to do those live, I had a lot of people that would be what I called repeat offenders. They would be back in that class over and over and over again because they would take a chunk of something and go and work on it, and then they'd want to learn more to add into that. So today is really just about giving you, again, an overview of what this looks like. You're going to get some tidbits and things that you can start changing. But what we're going to go through today is changing the type of meat and dairy that you're having. We're going to replace good fats. We're going to replace bad fats with good fats. We're going to eliminate sugar. We're going to change the type of grains that we're eating. We're going to eat only organic and add supplements, and then making meal planning simple is another thing that we want to really focus on. So changing your meat. This is something that I say in my nutrition talk, if you don't do anything else, start here. And the reason why is because there's so many additives that they're putting in these animals. They are shooting them up with hormones. They've got antibiotics going in there. They've got all kinds of things that they're dousing these animals with, and those toxins get stuck in the meat, and then you're eating that. And that's really why we're seeing young people go through puberty so much quicker, is because they are experiencing a higher level of hormones than they need to be experiencing. And so changing that, also even just the way that they're raised. So I go all organic, grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken and eggs, wild-caught fish, and pasture-raised pork. For me, that would be in a limited amount. Find a good local farm. For us, if you're here in the St. Charles area, one of my favorite farms is called All Grass Farms. It's right on 31 in West Dundee. It's just so good. You can actually talk to the farmers. You can talk to the farm hands, and they will give you all kinds of information. I know that you can even take a tour of their farm, which is really cool for me. Change your dairy. I used to be a super stickler on like no dairy for anybody, but I've changed my ways because the dairy products have gotten better over the last few years. I still believe that you should eliminate that as much as possible, specifically if you have any allergies, if you have any sinus issues, any lung issues, because what that's doing is it's actually creating more mucus in your body, and that's why you get sinuses. So if you have sinus issues, just take away dairy for 2 weeks and let's see what happens to your body. Minimum standard of engagement would be to go all organic. I always say that if you're drinking milk, we want it to be full-fat milk, not skim, not 2%. We want to keep the fat in there because fat is actually really the amazing component of milk. Goat cheese and goat milk is going to be better for you because the DNA structure is so much closer to our body than what a cow's body would be. Vegan cheese substitute. So I'm someone who lives on a mostly plant-based, I would say vegan, vegetarian, raw food diet. And so I've actually gotten caught up with these fake vegan cheeses. And that's something that I would stay away from as much as possible. If you start looking at the ingredients and what they're putting in there, it's just not a good product to be eating. Unless you make that on your own, like I'll make a cashew cheese sauce that is phenomenal, and that's what I'll use to be my cheese base, but I know exactly what's going in there, and if you have questions about that stuff, come and find me or email me, and we can kind of discuss how to do that. But stay away from the store-bought vegan cheeses as much as possible. Okay, when it comes to protein, there's tons and tons of questions because there's so much protein options out there. Simple thing is you want it to be undenatured, you want it to be grass-fed, you want it to be organic. We actually have 3 different options here in our office. We've got grass-fed whey, we've got plant-based protein, and we've got the bone broth protein. Dependent upon your body and what you're looking for, the whey is like the basic standard. Like if you're going to go for protein, go for whey. That's the easiest. We've actually got chocolate and vanilla, super, super tasty. The plant-based protein is for someone who is eliminating animal products as much as possible. So if that's you, that's where you want to sit. There's no bad plants in there. There's no soy. There's no anything that's going to create more inflammation in your body. And then we've also got the bone broth protein, which probably coming from a plant-based vegan type of a girl, the bone broth protein is my favorite. It just is going to help you so much with your gut. It's going to help you with your hair, your skin, your nails. It's going to help you with your joints. It's just going to help you age better. And so, and I feel like it's much better on your digestive system than something like a whey protein would be. So if that's what you're looking for, go ahead and find that. One quick tip for this is that you don't want to overconsume protein because excess protein actually turns into sugar. So eating more protein is not the answer. You want to make sure that you have a balanced diet. Women, you want to be about 15 grams of protein. Men, you want to stay at about 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Okay, we got the bad fats versus the good fats conversation to go through. Really bad ones. Let's just go straight into it. Cottonseed oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, canola oil. And so you're probably sitting there like, well, what the heck kind of oil am I supposed to be cooking with? Because that's all I've ever known and it's all I've ever cooked with. And there's so many more options that we're going to go through in a second. But if you have one of those in your pantry right now, my number one suggestion would be just go and toss it. Through these nutrition changes, I had a friend come in and she committed to stop drinking diet soda. And she had a whole case of diet soda at home. And she said, she's like, I went through this internal dialogue with myself where I was going to just finish the case and drink it rather than wasting it and putting it in the garbage. And then she said, now that I know this, why would I put toxic chemicals into my body just to not have to waste it? And really, you're wasting it inside of your body. So it's going to be better. You're not wasting money. Just get rid of the stuff that's not causing health to be built in your body. One of my favorite oils is extra virgin olive oil, but there's a common misconception with this is that most people cook with it, but it has a very low heat tolerance. And so you want to make sure that if you're cooking with it, you're cooking at a low heat, or you just don't cook with it and you can drizzle it on top of your food, which gives you the benefits, doesn't denature the oil, and keeps everything good. I typically use coconut oil to cook with when I'm cooking anything. I like to keep it simple and not get confused, and so coconut oil is just my go-to. I often get questions on avocado oil and grapeseed oil, which I have no problem with, but the issue is that most of the time those two products have way more omega-6s in them than a body needs to be ingesting now. Optimal omega, again, we want to normalize our omega-6s, our omega-3s, and most people are very high in omega-6s. They've got about a 20 or 50 to 1 ratio, so that's 20 omega-6s with 1 omega-3, when you want that to be closer to 2 to 1 or 1 to 1. And so that's where the optimal omega comes into play. This is going to help balance you out. If you know, like if you're on medication or if you are dealing with some severe health conditions, your omega-6s is probably super, super high, and something we need to regulate and put more omega-3s in first to kind of balance that out and then shift you into the optimal omega. Eliminate sugar is the hardest one that I have people go through. It's literally like taking them off of a drug as they go through that process with me. Couple substitutes that are really, really good are pure stevia. And the reason why I say pure stevia is because sometimes they're adding in dextrose and some other things into some of the stevia products. And so I want you to make sure that you're reading the ingredient label and figuring out exactly what's going on with that. Raw local honey is another great substitute. However, honey is sugar, and sugar is sugar, and it's still going to create inflammation. And so we want to make sure that we're stable with that. Maple syrup is another great option. Again, it's still sugar, so this is not something that you would be eating on the advanced plan. This is something that you would keep for the core plan. Some bad things to stay away from are Splenda, NutraSweet, Equal, Sweet and Low, and then bad stevias. Those are some things you want to just kind of veer away from. My favorite supplement, you guys have heard me talk about this before, is Greens First. I just think it's a complete overall good supplement. Helps with your digestion, helps with your immune system, helps with your brain function, helps with your heart, helps with your blood sugar, helps with your pH, helps with all the things. And I just think this is something that you should start your day off with, and it'll help you regulate your hunger throughout the day. It'll help you regulate your sugar intake as well. Grains. Here's the list of grains that I want you to eliminate. We got pasta, we've got bread, we've got rice, we've got tortillas, we've got crackers, we've got cookies, and we've got cereals. Those things need to go away, even if they say organic on them, because they're still filled with grains that are not good, and they also have a lot of sugar content in there. Some things that you can have with a limited intake would be Ezekiel bread. They actually even have in this company, they have Ezekiel bread tortillas, and there's another raw food, super raw food brand that has coconut wraps. And so those are totally legal and totally things that you can have. Quinoa and farro is going to be an amazing rice substitute. We've got coconut flour, almond flour, flax meal. If you've never baked with the coconut flours and the almond flours, give yourself some grace, because I promise you that there are going to be some times that you totally and completely fail. But if you keep at it and keep going towards it, you're going to make this thing work. Okay, we've got the Dirty Dozen list and the Clean 15. This is where I have people start when they are trying to buy organic and live an organic lifestyle. We want to work with the Dirty Dozen. Those are the ones that you absolutely must buy organic. The Clean 15 are the ones that you can get away with not buying organic. And so what's on this list? So we've got the Dirty Dozen list is strawberries, spinach, kale, nectarines, apples, grapes, peaches, pears, cherries, tomatoes, celery, and potatoes. And so those are the 12 things that you absolutely must buy organic. Take a screenshot of the list, or you can even Google 2020 Dirty Dozen list, and it'll come up with that. Another system that I love is our detox system, which pairs really well with our Optimal Omega, because the Optimal Omega is what's going to open up the cell to allow the detox or the toxins to be released. We've got two different parts to that. We've got the cell detox and the body detox. The cell detox is what goes in and kind of rips the toxins out. I think of them as Pac-Man. It goes around and collects all the toxins from the cells. And then the body detox you take at night, and it's like this big, huge magnet that runs around and collects all the toxins from your body and goes through that whole process. The problem with our food supply is that we have a ton of nutritional deficiencies running rampant across the board. We've got calcium deficiencies, vitamin D deficiencies, iron deficiencies, B12 deficiencies, folate deficiencies, magnesium. Magnesium is one of the highest deficiencies in almost every single person out there, which is why we've created the daily essentials for men and for women. So you've got a multivitamin in there, you've got a B complex, you've got a vitamin D, you've got the omegas in there, all these things that you need to take on your day. And it comes in a little packet, and so they're super easy to take with you traveling, take with you to work, take with you right at home. You don't have to separate all these pills. They're already all done, which I love, because I used to, when I traveled, would take all the bottles with me, and now I just have to take these little packets, and I'm set and ready to rock and roll. Okay, so there are two different plans that we teach in our office. We've got the core plan and the advanced plan. I like to say the core plan is for if you're just trying to live, if you are just trying to raise a healthy family, if you're trying to not build disease in your body, the core plan is where you just really want to live. We've got really good fats, we've got full fat dairy, we've got naturally raised proteins, we're limiting our grain intake, we've got a variety of fruits and of vegetables, and then it's mostly plant-based carbohydrates. where the advanced plan is taking away your grains totally, and it's limiting your sugar intake from fruit to just a couple specific ones. So I always just say berries, grapefruit, Granny Smith apples are allowed on your advanced plan. You can go in your Align Your Health book and you can read in there exactly what is allowed, and that'll help guide you through that process. But the advanced plan is where you want to live if you want to have a total health transformation, if you want to start reversing disease, if you want to start seeing changes happen in your health. I'm not saying that you always have to live there, but eventually you'll get to a place where that's just where your comfort zone is. Like for me and for Dr. James, the advanced plan is typically where we live, and we'll shoot down into the core plan to have a cheat day or a cheat meal or something like that, and that's where we kind of base our life off of. And so here are some indications of, should I do the advanced plan or should I not do the advanced plan? Is it for me? High triglycerides, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, high insulin, low insulin, high leptin, toxicity, ADD, ADHD, fibromyalgia, heart disease, chronic fatigue, cancer, diabetes, all these things that you're dealing with. If you've got something that's on this list, give the advanced plan a try and see what it can do. I've actually programmed out a 15-day reset that we'll make sure that we email to you if you're on this list. It's a $30 value. It gives you a 15-day plan of exactly what to be doing for those 15 days, and I'm going to give it to you completely for free, just because you're watching me, so you're welcome. But if you're going to do it, let us know. Let me know that you're planning on doing that 15-day reset, because I've seen some massive transformations in just 2 weeks. Okay, so the next thing that we need to talk about is oxygen and exercise, the one that people just don't like to do for the most part. I grew up playing sports my entire life, and so I was just active. I didn't know that you were supposed to go and exercise. Exercising for me was doing every single sport that was available to me. I didn't learn how to exercise until I got into college and chiropractic school, and I was like, well, my activities are all gone, so now what am I supposed to do? And so we've come up with Max Living, a completely easy program to be following. It's a 15 to 20 minute workout program. You can do it 3 to 4 times a week, or you can do it 6 to 7 times a week and get amazing, amazing results. It is a high intensity interval training system. We programmed this before the HIIT trainings got really, really cool. But it's a nice place to have people to come home to. But now we have other avenues that people can venture out. One thing that this is going to do is it's going to actually increase your growth hormone and your testosterone, which is going to help your hormones in the long run. It's also going to help you burn fat over a long period of time. It's going to decrease your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So if you're super stressed out, the best thing for you to go and do is to actually go get a workout in, and you'll see some transformation happen there. So the neat thing is that you work out for about 12 to 15 minutes, and then you get an afterburn effect for up to 36 hours afterwards. So you work out 15 minutes and you're burning fat for 36 hours. I think that's an amazing trade-off there. It's also going to help you increase your sensitivity to insulin. I do long-distance triathlons. I've run a marathon. I do half marathons. So I know the steady workouts, the long, steady, hard training days, and I also know the high-intensity interval 15-minute things. I like to really combine these. So if you're an endurance athlete and you're just really pounding the pavement and you're going at it for long periods of time, eventually your body starts to wear down. So I've noticed that when I combine these two, get a nice, good high-intensity interval training 2 to 3 times a week, in addition to my long training days, my body can recover quicker than not. So just kind of be aware of that and be smart. Minimizing toxins. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because I actually have an entire toxicity workshop that I want you to go and watch, because that's going to take a whole nother hour to have a conversation about. But what we're going to be talking about is having a medicine cabinet makeover, beauty products, cleaning products, household products, how to prepare your food and what to prepare it in, what to keep your food in, and then the type of water that you're drinking. The environmental toxins that we're surrounded with on a daily basis are just ginormous. I talk to a lot of people about whether they're doing the detox system or not. And a lot of times I get a response of I'm good, like my world isn't toxic. Yeah, maybe your like internal house isn't toxic, but you step outside and it is like toxins everywhere. You go to the gas station, you go to the nail salon, you go to the beauty salon, you go to the grocery store. Especially now, they're spraying all these sanitation things all over the place that are just loaded with toxins. And so this is a time more than ever before to be taking that detox system and getting those toxins out. And then also learning how to control the amount of toxins that go into you. There's a specific type of makeup that I use, a specific type of soap, shampoo, conditioner, because I want to make sure that I'm not putting toxins in my body if I can control it. So tune into the toxicity webinar for that. It's going to go through a whole conversation about everything. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about is core chiropractic. This is who we are. We are chiropractors by nature, by profession. Dr. James and I grew up in the chiropractic model and learning this. He was the 28th chiropractor in our family. I was the 32nd chiropractor in our family. We span 4 different generations of chiropractors in our history. We're the second largest chiropractic family in this country. And it is just amazing, amazing to be a part of. And what I like to do is just to be able to see somebody's body be set free from disease and from unhealthy situations. So just a simple stating, and most of you guys that are listening know this. If you're new and you've never heard this, like really tune your ears in to hear this, because we know that all healing comes from the brain. God put an amazing healing power in your brain. It uses your brainstem, your spinal cord, and your nerve roots to communicate to every single organ, cell, and tissue in your body. We know that if we cut off that lifeline, your body's not going to be able to heal. And so this is the lifeline that if your heart's not working well, is the connection to your brain opened up and the pathway open to function the way that it's supposed to. My most favorite verse in the Bible is 1 John 4:4, and it says, greater is he that is in you than he is that is in the world. The reason why I love that so much is because I know that God gave us everything that we need to survive. We are self-healing, self-regulating organisms. The problem is that we are treating these temples very poorly, and we're not understanding that the master control system, which is your nervous system, needs to be treated well also. Remember back in the beginning when I talked about ADIO, the above, down, inside, out lifestyle? If you get this, you're going to have everything understood about what health truly is. And so let's go for that. The life energy in your body flows from above down, from the inside out. So above in your brain, down through your spinal cord, inside your nervous system, out to every single organ, cell, and tissue in your body. So why do you do your home care exercises every single day, sometimes twice a day? Because you're removing any interference from that above, down, inside, out communication. When we get adjusted, we're taking pressure off of your nervous system and allowing your body to go back to work. When we took x-rays, or if you haven't had x-rays taken yet, I need you to know this about what an x-ray should look like. From front to back, you should be completely straight. There should be no curvatures when we look at you from front to back. From the side, you want to have 3 curves at 45 degrees in your body, one in the neck, one in the mid-back, and one below. Those should be at 45 degrees. In that position, there is no pressure on your brainstem, your spinal cord, or the nerve roots coming out of there. When we take x-rays, we want to see this nice, perfect 45-degree curve. We want those top 2 bones to be completely aligned with how they should be. If they're not in that position, it's putting pressure on the master control system. And if that's not working properly, then your body's not working properly. And so there's one thing that comes in the way of that, and it's called subluxation. Subluxation is really what chiropractors seek out and detect through x-rays, through palpation, through range of motion, through checking your spine as you're coming in every single day. We want to see where that subluxation is and work to remove that as quickly as possible. One thing that we're seeing most commonly right now is a loss of curvature in the neck. The medical system is calling this text neck, and they're trying to develop systems to get this corrected. Because we're in this position all the time. We're on computers, we're driving in cars, we're sleeping in these super cozy beds. We're just treating our spines poorly, and that's putting a ton of pressure on your brainstem and on your spinal cord. I've got a friend, her name is Shannon. She's a pastor at my church, and she came in. She's like, hey, I'm ready to make a total health change. I'm ready to start doing some nutrition stuff, some exercise things. And I said, well, pump the brakes. Like, let's see what your spine looks like first. So we took x-rays, and it turns out that she's got an S curve with a 7 and -7 degree curve. And S curves are typically the hardest to correct because there's a lot of ligament damage in there, which is what I'm actually seeing most commonly when we're taking the initial x-rays on our patients. And so I prescribed her some specific exercises to do at home. She came in 3 times a week, and within 2 months, she went from an S curve of 7 and -7 to a nice 40-degree curve, almost completely corrected. And it just, like, I took it, like, the day that we took her x-rays, I was like, you have a beautiful spine. And so I want you to have a beautiful spine too. If you are a patient, the way that you do that is you're doing your home care exercises. You're committed to doing that. Because if you neglect the home care exercises, we're not going to see the correction that we want to see throughout your spine. So I did a poll a few months ago, and I asked patients, are you doing your home care exercises as prescribed at home? I had 1/3 of the people say that they were doing them, and 2/3 of the people say that they were not doing their home care exercises. And so of that small pool of people that I asked, I really truly believe that's a direct reflection of what you guys are doing. And so I want to change that. I want to flip-flop that there's 2/3 or even more that are actually doing their home care exercises and doing them as prescribed. And the way that you do that is that you get a system set in place. You've got to have a spot for the wobble chair. You've got to have a spot for the wall traction. You've got to have a spot to do your things. In this picture that you're looking at right now, it's showing you an example of one of our patients who basically did a replica of what our office looks like. And they've got the wobble, the traction, the head weights all set up in there. They even have affirmations and scripture up on the wall so that they can do their mindset stuff as they're doing their tractions. It's just perfect. And the reason why they see such great results is because they have it set up at home to achieve those results. If you are not a patient of ours, or if you have family members that have not gotten their spines checked yet, I want you to understand these 7 things about subluxation. Number 1 is that you cannot feel it. There's only 10% of your nervous system that are pain-fibered nerves. So even if you say, I feel fine, that's not really getting to, okay, but what's the structure of your spine look like? The other thing is that every single person can have subluxation. I haven't met a person that doesn't have some sort of subluxation in their body. If you leave subluxation there, it develops into early degeneration. This is that old person's disease that we used to think about. Now I'm seeing it in kids starting to develop degeneration throughout their spine. So yes, kids need to be corrected. So another thing that I get is that you eat well and you exercise, and some of you even do yoga. That's great. I do all of that stuff too. I eat better than probably most of you watching this. I exercise more than most of you. I do yoga as well, but that's still, I get adjusted. I've been getting adjusted since the day that I was born. I'm 34 years old, and I'm still getting adjusted 1 to 2, sometimes 3 times a week, depending on my training and what's going on. Who corrects it? I am the only person on the planet that corrects subluxation. Just kidding, my brother does too, but we are the only 2 out there. No, but for real, what I want you to understand is that chiropractors do correct subluxation, and they are the only people that can correct it. The last thing is, one of the last things is that we see subluxation through a set of x-rays. That's our most conclusive study that we have. It lets us see the structure. It lets us see if there's ligament damage, if there's degeneration, if the alignment is way off, or what we need to do to get things corrected. And so x-rays are crucial to being able to see what your spine looks like. And then the last thing is time. I think about like going to the dentist. If I were to go to the dentist and she told me that I had a cavity, immediately what she says next is that we need to get this fixed now. And what if I were to be like, nah, I'm good. Thanks for telling me that my tooth is rotting, but I'm just going to let it do its thing. Is that ever going to get actually corrected? The answer is no. What usually that turns into is having to have a root canal and a whole dental situation go on. So something that you want to avoid. The difference, though, is that you can replace a tooth, but you can't replace a spine. And so we've got to start taking better care of our spines than we are of our teeth. Not saying to neglect your dental hygiene. My dentist would probably kill me if she heard me say that. But I do want you to start putting your spine as a priority and your family spine as well. And so if you're someone who has never had their spine checked before, come in. All you have to do is text the word spine to 630-377-3500. We'll do a complete consultation. We'll do a full workup. We'll do a spinal thermography scan. We'll check to see if the arches of your feet have dropped in any way, and we'll figure out what needs to happen to get your spine corrected. At least you'll know, and you'll be able to make an informed decision from there. All right, so if you are a patient of ours and you've got a family member that you want to have come get checked, let us know, or you can text us at that same number, 630-377-3500. Just let us know what time and day you want them to come in. You have made it through your 5 Essentials Lifestyle class. That is an overview of all 5 Essentials. We'll be making sure that we do some more specific topic webinars as well. If you listen to this and you want to go and get some product at our product booth in the office, this discount is only for office purchases. You can go there and let them know that you listened to the 5 Essentials workshop, and you'll get 20% off of your next purchase. Biggest piece of advice that I want to give you is pick one essential to focus on for the next 30 days. Focus on that, be a master, and then go to the next one, and then go to the next one, and then go to the next one. And then pretty soon, 5 months down the road, you'll be a master at all 5 of the essentials. So that's all I've got for you today. Go out and be blessed.